Hi besties! Today I'm going to be giving you my 2025 gear haul. This is all the gear I use when I photograph shows, go on tour, take my self-portraits, anything else that I do creatively. First, we're going to start with my camera. I use a Sony a7 III. I've been using this since April of 2023. It's my first mirrorless camera. I started on a Nikon D7500. So this was my second camera that I've ever used. I really like it. I feel like all of my photos come out really crisp. They always look really good. I just love the coloring of Sony. I have my Canon EOS M50, which is what I use to film on, and then I also use that for my self-portraits because this is just too big of a camera for me to use for my self-portraits. Next up, we have lenses. I have a Sony 24-70. I used this exclusively for the first year that I had my Sony, and then I got my TT Artisan 11mm fisheye lens. I've been using the fisheye pretty religiously the past couple months. I photograph a lot of 5-piece bands, so it works really well for portraits, getting everyone in the shot, and also just adding a dynamic element to every photo that I want to take. I do want to revert back to using my 24-70 a little bit more this year because I like having a zoom lens, and sometimes I don't want the fisheye look. I just want a very clear-cut standard lens. So those are my two lenses. I have not invested in any other lenses for my Sony yet. If you have any suggestions, let me know. I love the way both of these lenses look, and I love being able to get dynamic angles with the setup that I currently have. Next, I have my external flash. This is a Godox TT350. I have gone through a couple of Godox flashes. The first one that I had was a little too big for my setup, especially because the 24-70 lens is very heavy. So having a bigger flash just kind of isn't conducive to lifting up my camera and just carrying it around all the time on tour. So I invested in this one over the summer, and I love it. It's really small and compact. It can move around in a lot of different directions, which I believe that my bigger one could do also, but like I said, it was so heavy, it was really hard to maneuver. So I've been using this for a while. I use a lot of flash photography. A lot of the concert photography that I do is in dive bars or dimly lit venues, so I've been using exclusively flash for many months, and it's really helped with my style because I like to edit in a filmy sort of look. I like it to look very vintage. I like it to look like I'm photographing on a disposable camera almost. So I really do use a lot of flash in my photography, so this has been a lifesaver. I always have a ton of SD cards. I have a bunch of 64 gigabytes. I also have a 128 gigabytes, and I believe I have a 240 gigabyte. So I always carry them around in this when I'm going on tour. When I'm not on tour, I bring just one extra, and then I always have two in my camera at all times. I also use a LaCie Rugged Mini hard drive. I used to use the bigger LaCie ones, but I realized that I use them so often that I was going through hard drives, they'd get corrupted, they would just fail on me because I would just have way too much stuff on them. So I noticed when I switched to using the Rugged Minis, they use less gigabytes, they allow less files to be put on them, and I can switch them out faster before they kind of burn out and I'm left with a corrupted hard drive. And I have my little Apple converter that I use to put into my Mac for my SD cards when I need to upload my footage onto my hard drive. I edit all my photos on my MacBook. I've never edited on a desktop or gotten a desktop computer. I know a lot of photographers prefer to do that, but with the work that I do and with the travel I do all the time, it's much more conducive to my workflow to always edit on a laptop because most of the time I'm editing at a show or on the go or on tour. And then when I'm on tour or just at any type of one-off show, I bring these other two cameras. I either use my Camp Snap or I'll always have a disposable. I don't have a disposable right now, so I'll use my Camp Snap. I love the Camp Snap because I can edit the photos. I feel like when I get my photos developed on a regular disposable, I love how they look, so I never want to edit them. But with the Camp Snap, it gives me a little bit more creative freedom, especially being able to download the photos right away onto your computer and not have to wait to send them out and get developed. And then I have my Canon PowerShot digital camera. This was my grandma's actually. She gave it to me a couple of months ago. I use this for video for the bands that I manage when I'm on tour. I use this for photos. I use the flash a lot. I love how this looks. I think it gives a very vintage feel and it gives a little bit of a different vibe. And I also like how the video looks on this. The sound quality obviously isn't the best because it's used and a bit older, but it's good for any type of recap videos or if I need to take a clip of something and then dub it with the regular MP3 audio. Lastly, I have my 4K Minolta. I haven't used this a lot. I really want to use it for short form content in the new year and take it with me to shows and be able to take video and photo at the same time, because I like to have this up for video while I'm taking photos with my other hand. So I really want to use this a little bit more. I really love the vintage look. I love that it's crisper than the Digi, because the digital camera is very pixelated, but this isn't, and it still has that vintage vibe, but you can colorize it a little bit easier. So I'm really looking forward to adding this to my gear rotation in 2025. And that is it for my gear setup for photography. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, comment down below. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye, besties.